Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so as promised, we want to start off by just giving you a sense of who we are. Social Justice Fund Northwest, which you'll hear us refer to as SJF, is a member-funded foundation that resources grassroots movements for liberation. Instead of funding temporary services, we provide fundamental support to organizations in the Northwest and Mountain West working towards social justice. And specifically, we fund orgs in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. Our members democratically choose grantees that build social, racial, economic, and political equality. So one thing that we do is, just to sort of summarize, is that we fund community organizing that seeks to address the root of the problem and working to find systemic solutions. And these are often grassroots orgs that are ignored by traditional philanthropy. We love our direct services siblings. And that's just not where we direct most of our funding. Next slide, please.
So we would like to share with you how we're defining tenant and housing justice within the context of this giving project. This tenant and housing justice giving project will fund movements led by those most impacted by our current housing crisis in Montana, Wyoming, Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. This giving project will make grants to support community organizing work that builds collective power among renters, homeless folks, unhoused folks, and/or homeowners with a mortgage, i.e. bank tenants, to create dignified, affordable, safe, and healthy homes for all. This grant cycle seeks to support organizations working to undo and/or create alternative solutions to exploitative housing systems, which were built and are sustained by capitalism, colonialism, classism, racism, xenophobia, and ableism, just to name a few structural issues.
Thanks, Adiza. So if you're wondering what kind of work we've funded in the past, some examples of past housing justice grantees include Vose Workers' Rights Education Project, which is based in Oregon. They did a housing justice campaign that included creating resources that were culturally and linguistically accessible to their communities, providing know your rights trainings, housing alternatives, and timely organizing to combat fines, evictions, and housing discrimination. Um, so that's one example of a project we funded. We also have funded Queer the Land, which is a collaborative project grounded in the self-determination of queer, trans, and two-spirit Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and the vision of collectively owning our land and labor. Queer the Land secured a 12-bedroom house in Seattle's Beacon Hill neighborhood and are providing low-cost and/or barter for rent opportunities for transitional and long-term housing for their community. And then finally, Shelter JH is in Wyoming, in Jackson Hole in particular, and they build grassroots and political power so all community members can live where they work, creating a more resilient and just future for Jackson Hole. They host educational election season events and endorse housing champion candidates, partner with numerous organizations to further local and state political objectives, and empower supporters to lobby representatives regarding local development projects. So check out our website for more information on other past grantees. And when we send out the slides, you can definitely click on these links and go to their websites to learn more if you're interested. Next slide, please.
To define a giving project, we have 7 tenets that we use as anchors. The first is that a giving project is cross-race and cross-class. And this is intentional to upend the traditional philanthropy model, which often positions white, wealthy, and highly educated donors who might carry a savior complex and charity mindset, and make decisions behind closed doors, and putting the power back into the hands of folks in the community. So we really value the resource of lived experiences and cultural understandings of diverse community members and the value that that adds to movement spaces. The second tenet is that giving projects include political education and personal reflection on race and class identity. And this is really important. Through these through the political education reflection, there's an opportunity to investigate our own understandings of race and class in particular, and how they inform decisions that we make and how we see the world. So we consider it really essential to come into giving project space in an informed and careful way, conscious of our own biases or predispositions and preconceptions, because we're making democratic grant making decisions, right? And so it's important to be informed in that process. So in order to get informed, there's a variety of political education that we offer around tenant and housing justice. And we will bring in guest speakers who are doing community organizing in the issue area on the ground from our 5-state region, to talk about what's the work in their communities and what is emergent and pressing right now. The third tenet is that every participant will give a meaningful financial gift, which is individualized. Meaningful looks different to everybody, especially in a cross-class space. So we don't expect folks to give the same amount or anywhere near the same amount, considering where they are in their class positioning. But we do encourage folks to step into a space of discomfort to push their own boundaries without compromising their financial position in making their meaningful financial gift.
Awesome. Thank you, Adiza. So number 4 is that everyone also fundraises. This is one of the scarier parts of participating in a giving project for a lot of folks. But do not worry, we train you up. We also offer coaching sessions one-on-one and a lot of cohort support so that you can troubleshoot issues that are coming up for you. Um, you will learn how to fundraise your friends, your family, your peers, and we will help you get through any challenging moments that arise as a result. Um, Number 5 is learn directly from grassroots social justice movements, and Adiza covered this really beautifully in number 2. Number 2 and number 5 really overlap in that sense in terms of making sure that we understand what tenant and housing justice looks like and what it looks like across our 5-state region, because it might look different in an urban area versus a rural area, in Washington versus in Wyoming. Um, so that's one of the things we look forward to most, honestly, is learning directly from those doing the work. And then number 6 is the democratic grant making process. This is one of the pieces that makes SJF different from other philanthropic organizations in that all of our grant making is done by folks in community. So it's not done by someone behind a closed door. If you decide to participate, we'll train you up on how to read grants and how to score grants, and then you'll decide as a collective democratically where you want to distribute what you fundraised. And then finally, number 7 is community building and personal storytelling, which is present throughout the Giving Project. As Adiza mentioned before, really central to this work is building a strong base among ourselves and learning from each other, both in terms of political education and also in terms of fundraising. We hope that you all will come out of this space with new friends, allies, and communities that you can really continue to build with and engage with beyond the GP, folks who you now know you're politically aligned with, who can be a support system in the world with you as you move ahead. And as someone who is an alum of 2 Giving Projects, I can definitely say that that is true for me. Next slide, please. Okay, so next up, we're going to talk you through some of the details, right? Like, what are you really signing up for? What is the nitty gritty? And you can also enjoy these 2 lovely pictures of our 2025 Immigration Justice Giving Project with our party at the end outside. Look how happy we are. Don't you want to be joyful with us? Yay! Okay, so next slide. So part of being in person together for a giving project is that we want to be careful about our COVID protocols. So this will be our second in-person giving project since the onset of the pandemic. And we are an organization committed to accessibility. So we do recognize our role in mitigating the spread of airborne viruses like COVID-19. So we are trying to take all possible actions towards hosting COVID safer public events, which includes our giving project. So there will be 4 protocols that we'll stick to. The first is that everyone will wear a mask or a respirator when not eating or drinking, and SJF will provide those for you. Air purification will also be an important piece through HEPA filtration via the venue or portable air purifiers adequate for the square footage, which again we will provide. Participants will be asked to take a rapid COVID test at home before entering each session. We will also provide those to all participants. If your test is positive, of course, we would love for you just to let us know, and then we'll find you an alternative way of getting the programming. And if you're sick or feeling any symptoms of illness, we would appreciate if you would stay home. And again, we will offer you alternative ways of engaging. Next slide, please.
All right, so let's take a look at the Giving Project schedule. And here's a picture of us at our 2024 summit.
So
Um,
cute.
very cute. I won't go over the details of the entire schedule. Kathy, do you mind just clicking on the hyperlinked schedule in that slide, please? I won't go over the schedule in detail, but just to give you all a kind of a overall glance of this, we are starting in late January and we'll be ending in early July. We'll have about 2 to 3 meetings a month, and the meetings will take place either Saturday mornings and afternoons, a little bit on Sunday mornings and afternoons, and then Wednesday evenings. And we intentionally designed this so that we're meeting not too often, but also often enough so that you'll folks can really community build. And so take a look at this when you get the slides after this session, and it's also posted up on our website as well.
And I think one thing to note too is that most of the sessions are in person because this is an
Yes. Sorry.
in-person giving project. No, no, totally. Um, if you do the giving project, you'll find out that Adidas and I are like two of one mind. We're like two halves of a brain, so we just fill in for each other. Two makes one, we often say. But there are some sessions that will be online, partially for ease of accessibility for guest speakers, and partially also to allow you all to have a little bit of a break from commuting in or whatever it is. So this is all on the website, as Adiza said, so definitely take a look and see if it will fit your schedule.
And in person means at our office in downtown Seattle, FYI.
Great.
Wonderful. We can go back to the slides. Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks. Okay, so you're probably wondering, like, what do we actually do over the course of these 15 sessions? And we think of the 15 sessions as following a sort of arc. So the first phase is the political education phase, which we've talked about before, which is pretty much the first 5 sessions. This is where we build the foundation of our community, where we move at the speed of trust. We are getting to know each other. We're doing some reflection on ourselves and also in community. We're getting to learn more about our issue area and what it means exactly and how we can plug in. And we do some workshops that are specifically about race and class. Um, yes, if you live in Chinatown, you would be very close. You could walk over. And then in phase 2 for fundraising, this covers basically sessions 5 through 7. This is where we start moving from theory to practice, where we train you up on how to make asks and how to be what we call a donor organizer, and where we also skill you up a little bit more about the issue area itself, so you feel like you can make the asks with the necessary context. And then finally, phase 3 is the grant making phase. So this is where you start reading and assessing grant applications, where you make decisions about how to grant out the funds you've raised as a group. We train you up on how to do all of this, and we also provide a couple of sessions of direct support and one-on-one coaching sessions as well during this time. And then at the end, we'll spend 3 days making decisions, and then we will also celebrate our time together. So if you can sort of see the logic behind it, it's sort of like we're building a common set of values and understanding that then we use to do the fundraising and to do the grant making in a way that is equitable and just to the best of our abilities. Next slide, please.
Wonderful. That was great. Another way to look at the arc of the Giving Project is by intensity of workload by month. So on this page, blue is light workload, yellow is medium workload, and orange is heavy workload. The important thing to note is that the heaviest workload months are right in like the late spring to early summer months, April to June. And this is due to the timing of sessions and the lifts that you'll be asked to do as a participant outside of our sessions, right? So you'll be really digging deep into doing your fundraising of your community at this time and a lot of grant application review. Grant reading and scoring in particular takes a significant number of hours. We try to tell folks that throughout the course of an entire 6-month giving project to anticipate spending about 100 hours of total work, including the sessions. Right? So 100 hours of attending the sessions and then doing your own fundraising and grant application reading and scoring.
Thanks, Adiza. Next slide, please. So if you do decide to apply, please let us know if you have any access needs that we can support you with. The application form has space for that, and we'll link it at the end of this presentation. Some common access needs that we can meet and have met in the past include tech support. So if you need a Wi-Fi hotspot or if you need a laptop, childcare stipend payments, live captioning for Zoom sessions as we have tonight, and then also interpretation. So please just let us know what you need, or if you're going to go back and tell other folks about the project, let them know that we can support in various ways if necessary.
Yes, absolutely. Next slide, please. Thank you. All right, big picture. Folks like to get a big picture understanding of the impact that giving projects have as our flagship program at SJF. So I'm not really good at reading numbers, but I will do the slide. So we've raised almost $12 million total since 2010 from giving projects alone. We've engaged over 8,700 total donors and unique donors, so individual donors. And we have almost 900 Giving Project alumni. So as we mentioned before, there is a really vast community that we hope that folks continue to engage with after a Giving Project is over. And also a bonus picture of our virtual 2024 Environmental Justice Giving Project there.
Yeah, with the pets. We love the pets.
And the backgrounds.
Yeah, the backgrounds. You're in space.
Me
I'm
in
in the exact
space.
same spot. Nothing has changed for me. All right, Kathy, next slide, please. Okay, so now we come to like the best part of the evening, which is that we have two alums in the room, Nikesha and Christy, who were in our in-person immigration justice giving project this past year. And they're just both going to talk to you a little bit about their experience. And then if they can't stick around for the Q&A, they will, but if not, we'll wish them well. So Nikesha, do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay, cool.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nikesha Cavill. So I found out about the Giving Project as I was like doom scrolling LinkedIn one day, just kind of bored, looking for just whatever, right, that would like spark my attention. And I found someone's testimonial about it. So I kind of went online and like looked all throughout the website and I was like, okay, let's do this. So yeah, I just like went in like head first and did it. And it was amazing. It definitely transforms your thinking about things, especially social issues. I have my own consulting firm that deals with racial and social equity justice and things like that. So that's kind of what I'm already doing in my everyday work. But it allowed me a different perspective, especially in terms of immigration justice. There's just so many things that I think about now in my work that I didn't think about had I not gone through the Giving Project. And so, yeah, the community, the sessions, the food was amazing. Every session, the food was amazing. And I think that kind of just how Adisa and Emily really like cultivated the space, was intentional about just the little things, as well as adding the aspect of the food on there. It just really created a safe space. It created a space for community for you to like, after you've had a long day and you have a session, you know what I mean, at towards the nighttime, like just to come and kind of like relax, eat, talk, and discuss some of the things that we were going through with the learning. And so yes, and lots of leftovers. So we had lots of Ziploc bags of food to take home, you know, to enjoy for dinner or lunch for another day. So that just the whole experience from like the application process all the way to the end of it, for me was something that I haven't experienced with an organization or just with a program like I experienced with the Giving Project. I was trying to remember the questions, but one thing that I would say that I wish that I knew before signing up, is kind of a dual in terms of time and transformation. I know that they give you like a great breakdown of like the time commitment, so that's not what I'm talking about in terms of time. I think when it comes to what you learn and the perspectives and what you gain, I feel like even with our time frame given, there's not enough time to really process how you feel. And so even months after being in the Giving Project, like I'm still processing a lot of the things that I heard, that I experienced, a lot of things that challenged me. I'm still processing that even today. So I think even as you're kind of going through everything and even the grant process, that was something, I think we realized that we were, especially with our cohort, we were very passionate, and we wanted to fund everything and everyone. And so just even that of like how your heart and moments can speak and have a more burning desire and passion than some of the logical things when it comes to the allocation of resources. And so it's just things that you learn that you just never thought to think about. And so yeah, the experience overall was very transformational for me. There's a lot of things that I carry into it. One of the things we talked about was language justice, and speaking of immigration justice, so that's something that I'm implementing in my consulting firm, of making sure I have materials translated, making sure that there's accessibility with anything that I do. So yeah, there's just a lot of things that you learn, that you take with you, and that you like never forget. So yeah, that was my experience.
Thank you, Nikesha. We love seeing your face again. What a delight. Um, Thank you for being here with us. And if you do need to head out, totally fine. But if you want to stay around for, okay, cool, cool, cool. Christy, up next.
Yeah. Um, okay, how to follow Nikesha. Wow. Yeah, so I heard about the Immigration Justice Giving Project on social media from a friend who actually works at SJF. And at the time that like around this time last year, as it was being promoted, I got laid off. And I thought, well, I have some extra time on my hands. And also, immigration justice is just something that is close and important to me, that I have connections with, and that um, I've been involved in social justice movement making before. And so it all kind of just hit on pieces that I was interested and ready to dive a little bit more deeply into. The fundraising piece was maybe the thing that was the most new to me. And I was really intrigued, like after reading more about giving projects and doing the informational interview around the race and class analysis that is done during the giving project, and then but actually doing that with the cohort was a really fantastic experience and really deepened the experience of and the context and the foundation for the fundraising and then the grant making that we did. And so yeah, learning more about just like the history and frameworks of philanthropy and the different frameworks of fundraising and distribution. I'm somebody who's organized some mutual aid before and had experience with personal giving, but have never, before the Giving Project, never had experience with the type of like one-on-one fundraising that we did during the Giving Project. And I found that experience really enlightening and really valuable. And I had folks like that gave $12,000 and folks that gave $20. And so having that range of experiences was really interesting, really informative, and I think really helpful to how I understand community and movement and the work that is being done. And then within that journey, being able to like participate in the context of a cohort and have so many times where we were bouncing ideas off of one another and expressing like these are the challenges that I'm having or these are the successes that I'm having and helping each other move through those or celebrating people's wins. Yeah, when we set our goal at the beginning of the project or the beginning of our fundraising, everyone was like, oof, that number feels really big. And then we raised $100,000 more than that. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool experience. And I'm really happy to have experienced it. And I just got so much more. I expected to get a lot out of it, and I got so much more out of it than I had anticipated. Um, and then I would say when I think about one thing I wish I had known, I, in looking back on my experience, one thing I wish I had done was to talk about the Giving Project more with my community, with my family, with my friends. Um, and that would have gone a long way in helping make the lift of the fundraising easier. When we actually got to the months that they were showing on the timeline that are the heavier workloads, like I hadn't socialized very well that I was participating in the Giving Project. And so I had the job of like socializing the Giving Project, contextualizing the Giving Project, and then making my asks all at once. And in retrospect, it would have been fantastic to be able to have been talking about it with folks all the way along so that when we got to the fundraising, they had all the context and I could just make the ask and do the fundraising. Um, and so obviously we were still successful either way, but it is one way if you're worried about the workload or if you're going to have capacity during those particular months, there are ways to kind of lighten that load and prepare along the way so that those months don't feel as crunchy. Yeah, hopefully that's helpful information.
That's so helpful, Christy. Thank you so much. Thank you to both of you for being here. And Christy, if you have to hop off, totally fine. We know you have a kiddo. Um, I am going to share because Kathy is having a little bit of problems with internet. So let me just share my screen real quick so we can finish up here together. I think this is you,
Okay.
Adiza, right? Yeah.
Mhm. I mean, after hearing those beautiful testimonies from Nikesha and Christy, I can't see how you wouldn't want to apply. So
Yes.
here is the link to do so. When we share this presentation out, you can click right there, and it'll take you directly to the link to apply. It will also be on our website, right? So wanting to share that in case you are interested. And then after we receive your application, we'll reach out to schedule an interview with you. Interview sounds formal. It's a casual conversation to get to know you more. And so you can get to know either myself or Emily know myself or Emily more. And so we can really just get into more details about kind of your experience fundraising, your experience in multiracial giving community spaces and just share more details about the project. Um, so we encourage you to apply as soon as you're able to. And if you or your community is interested in this similar model, but is not in this local Seattle area, and might want to do a giving project somewhere else in the United States, there are 8 other funds across the United States that host giving projects that are listed here on the screen. And so you can check in on those organizations and see when they're hosting their next giving project. Yeah. Um, Now we would like to open it up for any questions that you all may have.
And if you want to put them in the chat, that's totally fine. And you can also direct them to people. So if you want to ask a question specifically to Nikesha and Christy, that's totally fine. But yeah, we'll give you a second to reflect. Unless we did so good and you're all gonna apply. Love to see your faces and eat delicious food with you. It's also, I hope you realize it's also like fun. It's like it sounds really serious, but it's also there's a lot of joy. So just so you know, we're not like, as I say, like we're really just silly billies. So yeah. So
I think
there's also,
Azaya has a question.
yeah, go for it, Isaiah.
I was wondering, so in terms of eligibility to apply, do we have to have a fiscal sponsorship or a nonprofit EIN at all attached to this? You just scared me in there.
So you're
So,
talking about the, oh, sorry, go for it, Adiza.
oh, okay. Um, Bye. Nice to have you here, Devin. So this the request for proposal or the solicitation for organizations to apply for the tenant and housing justice grant cycle will launch in January 2026. And in order to be eligible to apply, you will either need to be a 501c3 or be fiscally sponsored by an organization. So just having an EIN is not necessarily doesn't necessarily mean you fall into one of those two categories. And if you don't yet have a fiscal sponsor, but you're working on it, you can still apply. And then during the process of when we do the grant making, and if your organization is selected, we will work with you if you're solidifying your fiscal sponsorship during that process. But I hope that answers the question.
Yes, and do we need to, does our fiscal sponsor have needed to been in an organization for long enough, like 3 years for any specific amount of time?
Not that I know of. Okay, yeah, no.
Okay,
They
cool.
need to
So no
have
specific
they
like
have to be an organization that has a 501c3.
To teach a performer like
That's
yourself
the
to
requirement
believe
of
in
the
your
fiscal
own
sponsors, that they
force.
then have
But
a
some others,
501c3 or C4 status.
we are honored.
right. Do they have to have been an organization for any set period of time? I know there's a couple grants I've applied for where the fiscal sponsor and or the 501c3 had to have been an organization for like 3 years or 5 years or a minimum amount of time of operation before they could qualify for a grant. I was wondering if that's a thing here or not.
Not this grant. We have one grant like that, but not this specific grant.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to be clear, applying on behalf of your organization to this grant cycle does not preclude you from being a participant in the Giving Project. So you can both be a participant and apply for the grant cycle. There's just a little bit of a different process when it comes to, oh, Wheels Darling is back, when it comes to the decision-making process, but yeah, we welcome everybody.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Can I add something? I don't know when probably ask the question, but maybe you're thinking it. For those that are thinking like, how do I do this? And I don't really have community and or like people I can ask. I would say still go through with it. Because for me, I was in transition when it comes to like professional network, building true community that I know would support me in the things that I do. And so I didn't know how I was gonna do fundraising. I didn't know how I was gonna ask people. Like I was so, Emily Niece will tell you, I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to ask people, like, what is going on? And so I didn't know how like the fundraising would go for me because it's like I can't ask family and like, just I don't have that support to ask. And so I was like, I didn't feel like how, or I didn't know how I would be valuable to our fundraising goal. So I would say for those that are thinking that or feeling that in the back of your head, still apply and still participate and still do it because I did it. I did all the easy asks or a lot of the easy asks, and it worked out. I mean, I think I raised almost close to 15,000 just with Easy Ask alone. And I also got to meet and talk to a lot of great people through the Easy Ask. And it also pushed me to be able to like actually ask and feel comfortable asking, and feel comfortable with the fundraising process, regardless of me not having that professional network and or supportive community. So for those that might feel that way, might have some apprehension towards that, that's something that I would also add, as something that you should still do, and be a part of.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for saying that, Kay. I was thinking you verbalized exactly what I was feeling. I was like, I don't know who I would ask. I don't know people.
Yeah, no, it's so real.
I don't have people yet.
Adisa, help me. I was asking everyone in the cohort, help me, please. Like, how am I supposed to do this? And so I did the Easy Ask, and I did as many as I could get on the list that were available. And it really helped me kind of step out of the shell of asking. And of course, they're strangers, so they don't know you, so it makes it easier. And we really just had like very great conversations. We had like conversations for 30 minutes before I even asked them like for money, and by then they were willing to like just throw their wallet at me. So it worked out. But yeah, don't get discouraged in that. Still participate. Even your participation in like the discussions and the learning, just all the things, like you're still going to be a valuable part of that experience for someone, regardless of if you don't have that supportive community. So for anyone that is in the position that I was in, like still do it. It's so worth it. And you gain a community from this. So then now you have who you need, and the support that you need from it.
Oh, Nikesha, thank you so much.
Love you.
And
Yeah.
in case you're like, what's an Easy Ask? We do some work on the front end for you to get some folks who are in the SJF community who are like, yeah, hell yeah, I want to give to tenant and housing justice. And so there are folks who are going to say yes going into the ask. So it's a great way to get your fundraising started and get some momentum going. And also, some of them are Giving Project alums, so you can glean knowledge from them about how to fundraise and what tips and tricks they have. So thank you so much, Nikesha, for that.
Yes.
I'm just noticing that we're out of time. We're beyond 7. So let me just share our contact info. So if you have any follow-up questions, like if you didn't get to ask them now, please do feel free to reach out to us via email. And if there's anything else you need, we're here for you. We'll also send out a follow-up email tomorrow with the slides and the recording in case you'd like those for yourself as well.
And finally, we are recruiting through December 1st for the Giving Project. So please, if this is not a fit for you schedule-wise, or you have other commitments, invite community members that you think might be interested. We would love for you all to spread the word. The best recruitment strategy for Giving Projects is via word of mouth. So thank you all for coming, and thank you all for just spreading the word about the project. And yeah, take care. Good night. Thank you.